At this point, we should be ready to actually start doing the body lift. We got our fan shroud loose. I got the shifter linkage for the transfer case disconnected. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. It's really tight to get to these bolts underneath the vehicle and get them cut off. So I'm just gonna go from this side and just make them disappear. All right, Chrysler, I really hope that you didn't do this to the JK guys when you came out with the new version, because this is just stupid. All four of these seized right up. This is bent. I gotta fix that now and hope it doesn't break off. Missing two of these now after removing those, so not quite sure what happened there. And now I gotta come up with a solution to these spacers. Get everything back together. Lovely. So now what we can do, I'm gonna loosen all of the body mounts. And then one side at a time, I'm gonna remove them, lift the body, put in the lift kit, and drop everything back down, then do the other side. With all the body mounts loose, now I'm gonna start removing them one by one. When you're jacking up the body, you want a piece of wood as wide as possible to displace the load. And I'm going on this kind of unibody frame rail that's built into the tub. And I know I just said unibody and I've got a frame, but as you can see, there's just an extra reinforced area right here. That should be able to handle the pressure of the jack while you're lifting up the body. Keep in mind, I've got this whole side unbolted. The other side is still bolted in, but loose. And what that does is it keeps the body lined up. So I've got the entire passenger side and the front body mount all still connected. Ooh, it's making some interesting sounds. All right, so we're gonna take these old mounts out. Get the new kit. Here's gonna be the real time-consuming part. I've got to remove these steel collars from all the factory body mounts. And, you know, they've only been on there for a little over 10 years. Why is it I can never get a decent set of directions for anything? It basically says, you know, put the factory sleeve in, insert this crush collar, which keeps you from over torquing things, and then it says jack everything up on the body side until they fit and install them. It doesn't tell you what to do with all these, doesn't tell you what to do with these. I'm just kind of looking at the one picture I have here, but that's it. It doesn't actually explain what to do. We'll find out in a second here. Oh boy. Hearing some popping noises. I don't like it. Makes me nervous. There we go. All right, good, that fits. Okay. There we go. All right, so we're up an inch here. Here's just a little safety tip. I already pulled out the mount that's by the shock. Before sticking your hand in there, because I was getting a little nervous, so I'm going to go ahead and do this now, which on the other side, I'm going to do this completely first. Do this completely first before even removing the mount by the shock. Do the one in the back first. Because here's the thing, that's easy and quick to get to. And if you have the lift kit installed on the sides and on the back, if your jack slips, because you can see it's a little precarious, the last thing you want is to lop your hand off or crush your hand inside there. So I'm going to install the back lift first, so if it falls, it should land on the mount and cause way less damage to my hand. Here's one thing I forgot to mention. Before jacking the body up at all, make sure that you disconnect your fuel filler neck, because it will pull off. Yeah, I forgot to do that. So I'm going to fight with this for a little bit, but disconnect your fuel filler neck. You will thank me later. Both sides are done. Only thing left is the front. It's getting hard to turn some of these in and even get that side one started. So the body's definitely not quite lined up anymore. Not perfect, at least. I should be able to get everything in. I'm going to try jacking that side up a little bit and seeing if I can get that last bolt started. Alright, that bolt hole has to move forward just a little bit. So I'm actually just going to try jacking it from a little farther back. Alright. So now we got all the bolts installed. I'm going to let this down. I'm going to tighten everything up, and then we got just a couple more little steps. So I got the fan shroud back on. Fan clears. So that's all tightened down between the inch body and the inch motor lift. Didn't need to trim the fan shroud at all. And with that tightened down, there's only one more thing to do. These radiator support bumps are no longer touching the frame. The kit came with extended ones, so I'm just going to pop these old ones out, pop the new ones in, and we should be good to go. Both sides of those installed. The only thing left to do with the body lift at this point is to get the four-wheel drive all hooked back up. Okay, so the top of this bracket, I have the original rubber pieces still. If you remember, I only had 2 of them. I don't know what happened to the other 2, and I kind of improvised down here with some stuff I had laying around. I pushed the bottom 2 bolts through. I started the top 2 bolts with just the rubber, because these forks slide over the center of the rubber. So I got them just a little snug, and then force this on so now I can tighten this down. But before I tighten it, I'm going to slide the other 2 bolts in, get them started, and then I should be able to crank everything down, and then it's just a matter of adjusting the linkage. This is where having a second set of hands to hold the opposite side of that bolt would really help. But if I had the correct rubber pieces, this wouldn't be quite as big a deal anyway. Alright, that's it. So here's the body lift all done. A little bit of a gap going on there. We got our new mounts. Here's where you can really tell on the side. And in the back by the bumper, you see the body's lifted up a little bit. So I want to talk for a second about why I did a body lift. A lot of people don't like body lifts, so you should do it on the suspension. Well, here's the thing. The less suspension lift that you do, the less you're angling your drivetrain. Now eventually I would like a slip yoke eliminator kit, and I don't have to worry so much about driveline vibration. And the motor mount lift that we installed in here definitely helped a lot with the vibration. I can tell, especially when starting out, it's much smoother. But as far as the body lift is concerned, it works in conjunction with the engine mount lift. I can fit bigger tires without having to alter my suspension. My favorite part about the body lift, honestly, is it gives you just a little bit of a gap that you can now get in underneath the body and clean after you've been out wheeling. And I can now get across the cross member that holds the fuel tank up because I've got that gap in the back. And I cleaned a ton of mud out of there as soon as I was done installing this body lift kit. The other advantage to a body lift kit is down the line, I would eventually like to install a belly up kit, or also known as a tummy tuck. It's when you replace the transfer case skid plate with a lower profile. You can gain up to another 2 inches of clearance underneath because you're lifting up your transfer case. Now that would undo the effects that I saw from the engine lift kit, unless I go with a slope yoke eliminator kit, which again, something I'd like to do. When I install a slip yoke eliminator kit, you got to drop the transfer case out, so it's a perfect time to do the tummy tuck. At which point, the engine's up, the transfer case is up, and I've even seen gas tank skid plates that can lift that back up, which will give you a lot more clearance without having to do a huge suspension lift. So overall, I'm very happy with the body lift kit, and maybe we'll look into stuffing some bigger meats underneath here.